My guest this week on Word of Movement is freerunner Aaron Martin from Team Ashigaru in Germany. We go all across his career, from workshops to commercial work, stylish flips, and a bigger purpose. Because the path is never ending, we dive into philosophy and get to know his work right now, helping to establish the parkour scene in Singapore. This is Aaron Martin, and this is his Word of Movement. Hey man, thanks for saying yes to this idea on such a short notice. I don't even know you, but I'm gonna know you now. I'm gonna get to know you for the next 20-25 minutes. How are you?
Doing fine, man. Doing great. Just arrived this morning, 6 a.m. in Singapore. Coming back from Malaysia, staying there for a couple of days. Just me and my laptop, and yeah, getting some things done. So yeah, I'm doing great.
Maybe tell me, or tell us, the people watching, tell us a little bit about yourself. How do you start training parkour? What triggered for you? What made it, like the thing for you? And how long you've been doing it? That kind of stuff.
I love how you said how it made the thing for you, because yeah, it's that thing happening to many of us, I think, and finding that spot and describing it, and then translating it into how we coach and train is part of the magic. But yeah, I'm gonna start at the very beginning, which is second Saturday of February in 2009, which was my first training. So the 2 weeks prior to that, I just had looked up videos in the internet, Russian climbing and Spiderman, and what else? fReerunner, A Brother's Journey, had just recently come out. So I'm watching these videos and totally stoked that something exists where people take themselves seriously jumping from like across gaps and stuff. And yeah, I just looked up Parkour Frankfurt, which is the hometown I grew up in, Frankfurt, Germany, and found the Ashigaru crew. Back then it was mainly Jason, Ennis, Pascal, and a couple of other guys which are now like kind of stopped doing parkour or got into different parts of lives. But I had my very first trainings alongside Jason and the guys. They gave free workshops every Saturday. It was like horrible 5-hour workshops where, 1.5 hour warming up. Basically meaning like getting yourself wrecked for the rest of the day with tough conditioning and then starting to train. And I still remember like the very first training that I had was me coming in an environment of people that I don't know, 10, 12, 15 people, and I just see them jumping around. I'm very interested. I'm asking about techniques, like, how do you do that? What do you call that? It was such a very friendly environment where everyone was not only open to give feedback, but they took action and like helped me to get to next steps of like running precision jumps. They're like, you can try that. And I was like, really? I don't know. I'm just starting. And they assured me that I could do the jump by also being there to spot me. So this was the first time in my life that I encountered people pushing me beyond my own limit while making sure that I was safe. So they were not just talking the talk, but walking the talk. And for me, that's when it clicked. Wow, there's a bunch of people without any prejudice or without any hidden agenda or anything. They just want to move, and they want other people to move. And they want me to be part of it. Wow, amazing. So that got me hooked. I didn't stop since.
Very nice, man. Very nice. It's actually nice when you referred that when you started, and you started like with really heavy sessions and really heavy physical conditioning, which means that, well, at least in my opinion, they were doing the right job by maintaining that tradition, which is not only a tradition, but it's fundamental, because if you don't have conditioning and if you're not ready, you're gonna just damage your body. So that's actually a very, very nice thing.
Correct. I think for me, even though that was a heavy first part in the training, there was no refined practice behind it. I think the guys just did it because they saw the videos back in the days from the old school Yamakasi conditioning trainings and stuff. They didn't really know why they were giving us these super hard routines, I think.
Yeah.
So even for me, in the first half year, I remember measuring my progressive movements from the height that I could take off, the height I could drop with doing a rodeo jump. I don't know if you still remember like the rodeo grabs. You just grab your ankles and then pull back your.
Yeah.
That was like one of the big achievements until through like communicating over the Ashigaru forum and stuff that maybe it's not the way parkour is meant to be done, like doing grabs and jumping off of high stuff. But I had to learn as well. Everyone around me was learning with me, so I think it was a very easy way to get sucked into the whole deeper realm and reality of parkour.
Yeah. No, it's nice. Like I like talking to people from different countries. I've met many people, but I've never really dove into how they started and all that, because it's sometimes it's a bit like, it's like a cliche, like you're asking me the same question that everybody asks. But it's actually nice to see that, like in Portugal, in Germany, you guys had a forum, you guys did like physical conditioning, and you didn't know why, you just did it because you saw it on the videos. It's exactly the same in Portugal, man. Like, we did sessions that were very, very hard. We didn't really know, we just knew that it's part of the training. It's not just the skill, it's also the preparation. And you could actually tell, like, because when the new kids started to come, when the new wave of kids started to come in 2010 maybe, and they just had a lot of skill, okay, congratulations, a lot of skill, but then they could only train for like 1 hour, 2 hours, and then stop. And because we had conditioning, we could train for 6 hours. So that makes a huge difference, regardless of the skill, because skill, some people get it faster, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're better, So and talking about the Ashigaru crew, like to be honest, until I met the people that I'm gonna tell you, because I've told you now, until I met them, I didn't really know much about the crew. Like, I've heard a few things about them, but I didn't know much. And I think it was 2012. I was training with two friends from another crew, and I was living in Lisbon, like in the center of Lisbon at the time. And that spot was really, really close to my house. And I was just training there. We were just like hanging out, training, and then these guys come up, like these 3-4 guys and a girl or 2 girls. I don't remember now. My memory is shit. Sorry. And so one of the guys was Roman, and the girl was Natalie. And they introduced themselves like, "Are you guys doing parkour?" "Yeah, man. Why?" "Oh, because we are like we also practice, or we're involved in the community in Germany. We're from the Ashigaru crew." And I'm like, "What the fuck, Ashigaru?" And then my friend like, "Oh shit, Ashigaru, really?" Because like he knew it and I didn't knew it. I was like, what? Ashiu who? Actually, and then like we just hung out for a little bit. We showed them a few spots in the city. And we kept in touch, actually. Like it was a shame because I think Roman was here in Portugal last year, but I wasn't in Lisbon at the time. I went down south to a music festival, so I couldn't meet him, which was a shame because Roman is such a nice guy. Roman, definitely. That is involved. He's involved in the Urban Free Flow website, right?
Yes, at least he designed the current logo.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, we'll talk about Urban Free Flow in a little bit because I know that you also have something there. But just briefly, very quickly, because you already mentioned the crew. Tell me a little bit about Ashigaru, because I know, like a friend of mine told me that the best guys to train are Ashigaru, because they don't care. Like they're not showing off. They're not, they're not doing anything like too creepy. They're just there. They're training, chilling, very progressively, very quietly, very nicely. Very nice guys. And I've also looked into the meaning of the name Ashigaru, which actually is one of the foot soldiers from the samurais.
Correct.
Right? So yeah, so tell me a little bit about the crew and about your experience in the crew and what you guys accomplished, because you also did a lot of commercial work. So yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
Cool, sure. Ashigaru, I think it had formed in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. Was originally Jason and Ennis, and well, to be honest, Jason, Ennis, Pascal were deeply involved in the beginnings, alongside of some other folks. I know when I started out, these were the guys I was looking up to, because they had the first few commercial jobs. They were the first ones giving open or free trainings. They were the ones at the PlayStation The Way workshops, hanging out with at that time Daniel Abaka, and I think most of them have met David Bell at some point. So it was like a huge perceived gap between the Ashigaru guys and the rest of the community. But I realized they were hosting these free or super cheap workshops throughout the whole year. They were hosting the largest gyms around Germany, or just in Stuttgart or in Frankfurt or wherever people would meet up and start training with each other. So what I feel the guys did for the scene in Germany was kind of translating what the Yamakasi had created and what was out there at that point, and making it more accessible to the general scene in Germany, in Frankfurt especially, at least from what I've experienced. And by taking that to like a very human level, a very like we're not doing like crazy stuff, and we're not different at all. In fact, most of us come from a background where we didn't do any sports, where we didn't have any, huge, incredible aspirations or held ourselves up highly. We're just here to train, and we want to train with other people because we believe it's not only incredibly fun, but also meaningful to keep like that mindful practice going on. And for me, those guys were like a team to look up to. So I got more involved. I started being really involved in the scene, attending every meeting I could attend, until I think like 1.5 years after I started training, I was like a guest coach for the beginners for Frankfurt workshop. So I started getting in touch with them more, and at that point, 2011-ish, around 2012, they were speaking about forming a professional team. So I didn't know too much about that. I had one like small show where I earned, I think, 100 euros or something. So really big for me as a 17, 18-year-old, not thinking that there's any money in parkour at all. So did that kind of show, and then, I don't know, things came together really quickly when I got to know the guys really, when living with them, which was 2013, January 2013. I had just moved to Berlin, lived there for 8 months. Got in touch with the parkour scene there, and then the guys just asked, we want to form our team, we want to make it a real thing, we want to build a business out of parkour performances and commercial works, because we think we're the guys who can do it, and so far no one is really doing it. So 4 of us moved in together. We called out like a national meeting with all the Ashigaru guys involved, which was basically all the guys in the different communities around Germany who had been practicing for a long time and who over jams got in touch and became friends. So really that was, basically at that time Pascal, Ennis, and Tim, and Danny as well, our Daniel Stang from Germany. They were basically asking the people, the friends they had made in Germany, if they want to form that bigger team, Ashigaru. And that's where it kind of excelled. We took it very seriously, doing performances and getting better at choreographing our own stuff, starting to count timings on tracks and starting to taking more professional show tracks, conceptualizing shows and performances, getting in touch more with stunts and commercial works in general, informing ourselves and each other, how do we get our show reel to a level where we can compete with international athletes and that kind of stuff. From there on, really grew into something professional, Ashigaru, professional parkour and free running. But before that, it was always just a group of friends meeting at different gyms in Germany, traveling together, conveying the spirit as good as they could. And I think they did a great job bringing a lot of people together. Yeah.
Yeah, I must say that from watching your videos as a crew, it's very professional, very clean, very in your face, but very still very professional with a lot of posture, which is really really nice. And I think your speech now, hopefully to someone that's listening and has a crew, I think this is a very good speech that can inspire people to do something, because that's the mentality that you need to progress, to evolve. You need to really take it seriously, and you need to do whatever it takes. And the results can be possible, because from your guys' work, it's obvious that stuff can happen. Tell me now, you're in Singapore, right?
Yes, correct.
This is a very personal thing for me as well, because I've also been there. And I actually miss it a lot, to be honest. I think that it's a wonderful place to train and to teach. And you're also involved with the same school that I was, Superfly Monkey Dragons.
Yes.
So yeah, I want you to tell me first, before going into the Singapore thing, just tell me a little bit. Are you more into competition or performance or teaching, and why?
All right. I think that's a really great question. I think it boils down to the core of who I think I am currently.
Yes.
So for me, I had started out as a performance athlete because I saw for myself, quite egoistically, that I had a chance in becoming a performance guy. I was never the person progressing fastest. I know I could put in the hours and the work to, for a month, going out every day for 1 hour to practice muscle ups just so I could get them. Like a couple of years into training, or maybe 18 months into training, I wasn't too happy with the speed of my muscle up, so I took the time. So I know I had that. Knowing at that point that my life will include parkour to a certain degree. I didn't know to what degree, but I knew it would stick with me. I saw a chance there for me, like just training moves to look pretty, basically a round of flash kick and doing it so many times that it would become a pretty move that is impressive to people. I also found that there I could put in the work where you can solve a lot with expression, with just being there on stage, with making moves look spectacular by acting, basically. So I knew, wow, I didn't need to have the most advanced skill level to at least make a somewhat basic kind of living from that work. So I'm definitely from the performance background. I saw it like non-competitive. I'm not forcing my opinions on anyone. Cool, I can do my thing in that and progress. But the more I got into performance work and even commercial work, because it simply paid better, I felt that I was detaching myself from what had initially drawn me to parkour, which was community. So I spent hours and hours and hours training for myself, refining the flips and acrobatics that I wanted to have as assets for my performances and commercial jobs. But I wasn't training with the guys that really had made my life to that point. And even worse, what I really first felt when coming to Singapore, I wasn't passing anything on. So what I was doing was very self-centered, and I didn't get that gratification out of it that I had gotten when I first started. It's like, wow, I can do what I love and earn money, awesome, dream life. But I realized it's far from it. It's actually, the more I went into that direction, thinking that the more I am passionate about what I do and earn money from it, the closer I am to my dream life. It was opposite. My dream life was right here, where I was giving back to people who had helped me before. And by just being a performance athlete, I couldn't do it. So I started taking coaching more seriously. Started digging into, well, what is valuable about parkour? What is the thing that is seemingly different from taekwondo or soccer or basketball or whatever it is? Because there's something, right? There's something we feel. There's something why we have traveled the world with people opening up their doors for us, even though they don't know who we are, just because we say we're training parkour, we're tracers. So, like, what's that? So, I have to quickly insert. I've been studying philosophy for nearly half a year, but that kind of describes part of me as well. Like, I'm interested, but also it's about practicality. So I didn't pursue the philosophical career but I wanted to apply what I had learned from some of the great philosophers, which is, fulfillment doesn't come from doing only stuff that makes only yourself happy. At least that's the part that was most important to me.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to thumbs up. Also share it with as many people as possible so everybody knows what's going on. And of course, subscribe to stay tuned for another episode of Word of Movement.